Either the events of 2020 were planned, or Carlton Cuse has the ability to see the future. He was the creator of a USA TV series called Colony. It ran from 2015 to 2017. It dealt with a quote-unquote alien invasion, but the results of this have mimicked virtually every single event that has occurred in the last 18 months around the world. In today's video, I'm going to try to lay out most of them. There are so many, I don't think I could do it in one video. It's truly frightening. It sent chills up my spine while I was doing it. That's how close it was. So let's get started. The first place we have to go is this image. What these aliens did when they invaded is they put down these walls and they divided certain segments of society from other segments of society to control people. And tens of thousands of these little autonomous robots swarmed through the streets and watched what everyone was doing and enforced curfews and enforced behaviors. Does that sound familiar? Enforced curfews, enforced behaviors, and big tech being used to do this? These are just analogs of our phones, of all the cameras everywhere. The cities are all burned out. In the series, of course, it's from the invasion, but what do we know? The cities in the north are all burned out from all of the protests. It's virtually the exact same situation. Now, it gets even better than this. In this dystopian future, there are people who collaborate with the authority, these aliens, and they live a very utopian lifestyle in areas called green zones. And they have all of the things they need, and life is very good, but for most people it isn't. Out here in the wards, it's day-to-day survival. And they have this group called the Red Hats that goes out and enforces all of this alongside of these robots. Now here's where things are going to get really, really strange. See, out here there are these groups that want to resist, and they are being hunted. The storyline has two sisters. On the right, Sarah Wayne Calles. I'm sure a lot of you recognize her from Prison Break and from The Walking Dead. And Amanda Righetti, her sister. Their both last name is Bowman. Hers Katie, and Maddie is her name. Now, they take very different strategies. Maddie has a son that needs medication that is not available out in the wards. So she has to cozy up to this guy who lives in the green zone. Well, her sister Katie is a member of the resistance. She has kids too, but not with the health problems. So it shows two different attitudes and how they work for and against each other. You can collaborate or you can resist. Now, hold on to your hats. They get to Katie's husband, and they kind of manipulate him into working with them to find the resistance. Well, his wife is a member of the resistance, and he doesn't even know. So when he decides to go along with the authority and do what he's told, guess what happens? They get to reopen their bar. Now, what happens when you go along with all of DC's dictates regarding the pandemic? You get to reopen your business. You get to permission to go out and have normal life. This is the exact analog of the carrot and stick approach. What are we hearing now out of the mainstream media? If you do this and you get vaccinated and you go do that, you can participate in normal life again. Joe Biden will give you permission. Meanwhile, the resistance, of course, lives way out in the woods, and their lives are horrible, and there's infighting, and it's terrible. You see, they have this group way out in the Northwest, in the series. But as we know, it's really existing here in the South in reality. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, but nobody was forced to wear masks in the series. Well, guess what? There were people that chose to. They tried to have this let's demonize the police part of the plot too, but in doing so, what they showed here was that people were willing to do whatever was necessary to keep their lives the way they should be. And in this case, they wore masks. They were the enforcers, the masked enforcers. And there were lots of them. They controlled the people, they herded the people, and they made them do things against their will, much like what we've seen. Now, how else did they control people? This is an actual quote from the series, from a character, Wayne Brady, that plays Everett Kynes. The way to control the democratic society isn't through fear, it's through distraction. See, he created, and this is right from the fandom, a tech expert in Seattle who designed an algorithm used by the Institute for Global Advancement for recruiting. You see, this is how they found out who they should use to control the human population among the human population. Does that ring a bell? Using an algorithm to control people? Using an algorithm to choose who should be and who shouldn't be in charge? This is another character from the series, Alan Snyder. He was a middle manager, largely a failure in life. And here's a quote he said: "Even the most successful men make 2 or 3 critical mistakes in their lives. It's what they do afterward that defines them." Alan Snyder. He is a direct analog of Joe Biden, who was a failed, basically, politician. He had run for president multiple times and failed, and was just kind of one of those middle manager senator types. And all of a sudden now, he's the leader of the free world. They even have an analog for Kamala Harris. There is an actress that plays opposite Snyder and literally fills her role perfectly in this. It is unbelievable the amount of parallels. See, this is what they wanted, the authority wanted. They wanted people who just kind of went along with things and did what they were told and didn't make waves, the middle manager types. And that's exactly who we have in charge now. Now, this is another actual quote from the series from this character, Alan Snyder. "No one can change our present situation. It's immovable. So instead, everyone needs to try to appreciate the good things." Now, does that sound like something Joe Biden would say? It absolutely does. In this world, loyalty and trust are such critical qualities. Ring a bell? Oh, but it gets even better. You see, they also have this authority, a group called the Greatest Day. It's a kind of pseudo-religious organization, and they have humans that they have recruited to go into your homes and manipulate the minds of your children and indoctrinate them into this new one-world religion. This is the analog for science, for accepted science. You will either believe this, or you will be labeled an outsider and a threat. The character's name was Lindsay. And that's exactly what she tried to do. She tried to go in to the family of the Bowmans, Katie Bowman, and indoctrinate the kids against the parents. Another quote: "We live in a moment where we do what we have to do for the people that we love. The old rules just don't apply." Does that sound like something maybe you've said to yourself lately? Have you ever said this to your kids? There's absolutely nothing bad about thinking for yourself. See, once they out this Lindsay character she's gotten rid of, and they have to kind of bring their kids back from the brink. Critical race theory, ring a bell? This is one of the members of the resistance. Men who trust power tend to have short life expectancies. This is all part of the series that aired from 2015 to 2017. And virtually everything that went on in it has now transpired. Even this. See, at some point, this character, this Alan Snyder, this middle manager, realizes what's happening to him. And he tries to fix things. He tries to revolt and work, go and say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I can't believe I was part of all this. And of course, they accuse him of treason. One of his quotes, unfortunately, treason is a hard stink to get rid of. It is absolutely insane, the amount of parallels. And these are just a few. If you go and watch the series, you'll see many, many, many more. Absolutely the craziest thing I've seen in my life. That this could have been created, and virtually nobody's talking about this. I'm sure a lot of people have forgotten. Just in 3 seasons, all of the characters have direct modern day analogs. Now, here's the really, really frightening part. If you go to the wiki and they talk about this, they even have a section with allusion to historical events. Who remembers my video from yesterday where I talked about Mengele and Goebbels and Leni Riefenstahl having their analogs in the modern day in Sue Isicki, Anthony Fauci, and Jack Dorsey. Allusion to historical events. In May 21, 2015, interview with Collider, executive producer Carlton Cuse stated that the show was conceived as a metaphor for France during the Nazi occupation. Now, who were the resistance fighters? The Maquis. I'm telling you guys, this is just really weird. Either somebody knows how to see the future, or this was a plan. One of the two. And I'll leave this to you guys to discuss down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys tonight on Twitch, and we'll talk more about this there. Thank you. Have a great day.